Spanberger and other officials, thank you for being here. And love to know from you all, whoever care to speak about it, just what are some of the biggest mistakes Virginians would make in these situations, and how can they avoid them, stay safe, and keep each other safe?
On the preparation front, I might turn it over to John Scrivani of VDEM or potentially Dr. Webb of VDH. I'll defer to you, gentlemen.
I'll go first. Good afternoon. I'm John Scrivani. I'm state coordinator for VDEM. Biggest mistakes are not being prepared today. If you think this storm is not going to hit, you are probably wrong. I would hope you are right, but you are probably wrong. You need to prepare your family, your home, and also one of the worst things you could do at this point is get out on the road after this evening, as the governor mentioned. We need people to give VDOT the time to get those roads cleared, get the power companies the opportunity to get the power lines that fall on the road up. There's going to be a lot of different hazards out there. So we need people to, again, one, prepare, be ready, and I'm sure Dr. Webb will have additional comments. But two is really stay home. If you can, and we know that you may not have any power, you may be cold, work with your neighbors, and we're going to have to all work together to try and get through this. Dr. Webb?
Thanks so much. And certainly just to add a couple of things that are really important. Pay attention to the local advisories. This is a severe weather event that affects different parts of the state differently. And so being able to know what the impacts are going to be locally is going to be the key. And that's going to help you understand where the emergency resources and supports in your area are. The next piece is from a health standpoint, if you have prescription medications or medical devices that you need, have those pulled together and ready. Some medical devices require charging, so make sure those are prepared and ready to go. On that charging front, if you have healthcare needs, understand that the ability to reach loved ones and for loved ones to reach you is so critical. So keep those devices charged, have backup charging mechanisms, and that's going to help us keep folks safe. The next part is you don't want folks out on the road, but fueling vehicles is going to be important for you, and also fueling heating devices. Make sure you have a plan for safety if you have heating devices that need to be fueled. So that's your carbon monoxide monitors, your smoke detectors, but also basic safety like keeping it away from drapes or furniture, those sorts of things. And then the last thing I'd say is a personal preparedness plan, personal preparedness kit. So whether that's your medications, other things you would need if you need to leave the home quickly, things for your children, for your pets, things that are going to be necessary for you as you're leaving the home. Keep those together. Take it all seriously and understand we're going to continue to keep you updated and get you the resources you need, but make sure you prepare as much as you can on the front end. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Governor. So how will you measure the success of your administration handling this weather event?
I would say that while I respect the press, I think when we're talking in terms of the safety of our fellow Virginians, this is about how we are keeping people safe, how we are keeping people informed. And I think that right now I am deeply grateful for the hard work of certainly the folks in this room. There are many, many more people in this room at this moment than just the folks behind me. The leadership of the folks behind me and the efforts to ensure that we are ready for this type of storm. You may have noticed through some of the press advisories that day by day it's been a severe weather storm, it's been a strong weather storm. Now we are in the place where we are characterizing and recognizing that this will be a devastating storm with major impacts across the Commonwealth. And so, my goal certainly in this storm and in responding to this crisis is that we're making sure that Virginians across the Commonwealth are hearing from the experts that know the work is being done on the ground to clear roads, to prepare, whether it's locally warming stations or whether it's ensuring coordination with hospitals and our health districts, and really being ready for the significant impact. But this will be a tough storm, and frankly, there is never success when there is this level. There is never a sort of a clear line of what constitute success when there is just so much on the line. But our goal here is to protect people, to protect our fellow Virginians, and ultimately get through this storm as quickly as possible and get back to normal functioning, whether it's of the energy grid or of our road systems, as quickly as possible.
Governor Spanberger and other officials, I just would love to know from you all, on social media and sometimes on television, people talk about looking out for vulnerable populations, immunocompromised, elderly.
Yeah.
People who may suspect that something they're worried about their vulnerable neighbors. What advice would you all give to report that, just so everyone is good at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, on this one, I'll turn it over to some of my colleagues here, but importantly, recognizing that your neighbors may need additional supplies, whether it's portable chargers so they can keep their cell phones and net connectivity to loved ones or to first responders, recognizing that friends and neighbors may not have been following the news, ensuring that people know just how severe the storm will be and how significant the impacts. This is a time for people to really make sure that everyone in their network and with either on their street, in their neighborhood, in their apartment complex, or on their social media feed, realize the severity of this storm. And then for some of the actual mechanics of it, I'll turn it over either to Dr. Webb or Director Scrivani.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that while we're helping to lead this response, we're also in this with you. We're experiencing this response right along with you. So in my family group chat, we're talking to each other about what preparations we've made, who has the things that they need, whether it's medications or tools or support. So that kind of check-in is critical right now in all of our communities. In terms of communities that are at some greater risk, I think it's important that people keep in mind this is a local response. We've sent data over to the local health districts to make sure they know who are some folks to look out for who require oxygen or have dialysis needs, so that we're keeping a close eye. But that connectivity really is going to be our friend as a Commonwealth. If we have really a unified approach to this, it's checking in on our neighbors, checking in on our friends and our family, and making sure that everybody has a plan on the front end. Much harder to address needs down the road. Better if we make that plan now and make sure we're ready to execute on it. And I think that we're all doing that with our families, and we just want to make sure that across the Commonwealth people are doing that as well.